February of this year to see David Roth and Ann Hills, singer-songwriters. I'm a big fan of David's and Ann. And for whatever reason, Ann and I talked at the end of the concert about autism. We were talking about autism. And she said, hold on a minute, I have to go out to the car. I want to give you an album that I recorded. And this is the jacket for the album. It's called Beauty Attends, the Heart Songs of Opal Whiteley. And Opal Whiteley lived at the turn of the last century, around 1900, 1905. She lived a very long life. I think she died in the early 90s. She was in her 90s. And she was a genius. She knew about nature and beauty, and she wrote poetry, and she was just very heroic, and people loved her. But for whatever reason, she lived in Oregon. She wound up in England, in London, and then things started to turn. People thought she was a fraud. She was acting strange. And so she spent the last 50 years of her life in an institution in London. And her poetry and her books were found. And Ann Hills, Michael Smith, who's a terrific composer, Michael put the poetry to music, and they recorded this album. The interesting thing, the autism connection, is that they felt after she died and they looked at her life that she probably was on the spectrum. And nobody understood it back then, but one thing I've made it my mission to do is inclusion, inclusion, inclusion. Nobody should be in an institution for 50 years, especially somebody who is so gifted. So I want to do a song from the album tonight. It's called Cloudships. Opal wrote this in 1904, and she was probably a little girl, and she looked at the sky, and we know what she was seeing, clouds that look like ships. One thing I want to mention is, in her poetry and music, she talks a lot about literary authors. And in this song, she makes reference to Elizabeth Barrett Browning, and that's the cow's name. All her animals had famous authors' names. And she thought that the cow probably was brown, was Elizabeth Barrett Browning. So this is called Cloudships in honor of Opal Whiteley. I think there's a memorial for her in Oregon. They finally recognized her. And you could probably pick up this album on Amazon. This is Cloudships. The sky is filled with clouds that look